Right, well, hopefully you agree with me that installation was very easy. So we get this activate Tableau, so we can start a trial for 14 days. We can start a trial later, so you can install it now but start it in, say, a month's time, or we can just activate it. So we're going to start the trial now. So now you need to register, so I'm going to type in all of my details and press register. Right, registration complete, so click continue. And here we can see the welcome page, and there's a lot to it. So we can open up sample workbooks at the bottom. We can discover, and so there's a bit of training there, and you can click view all to get more training. And you can connect to a file. So it might just be helpful, first of all, just to see the sort of sample workbooks that they've got. So if I click on the first one, being Superstar, you can see that we can get maps and we can get graphs based on various categories of data. You should also note that we've got these tabs at the bottom, and clicking on each one gets you to a different, well, I'll call it a tab. They're actually called sheets, worksheets, just like in Excel. So there's a sort of dashboard, so you can see, for instance, some of the very dashboardy things that you might expect to see. So there's quite an array of stuff. So what we've got here is your main working area, and this over here is where your data fields are currently residing. Over here, your columns and rows. So here we can see we've got a year and then a month and then a segment. We'll work out how to do all of this and what all these pluses and minuses mean. And we've got filters and marks. And marks are basically anything that's visible in some respects. So we will find out how to do a lot of this in this course. So don't worry about this. There's a lot here, but we will work out how to do it. So if we close this, file close, and we can have a look at the next one. This is regional. So we can see all of these maps and we can zoom in on particular counties. So we can go down to Florida, for example, and have a look at Polk County or the Highlands. Or go across Tampa Way to Sarasota. We can have a look at a bell curve for college admissions and the SAT score. Here we have the economic returns of the Standard & Poor's Industrial Index. And you can see when I hover over each of these that different balls get highlighted in the graph below. So these are the various stocks. Notice how we've got a line down here separating out each year. Again, we'll show you how to do that. And notice when I move my mouse over this graph that it highlights where I am in the upper graph. Now this is quite advanced. This requires quite a lot of mapping data. And then other graphs, as you can see, they are segmented into particular months. So February, you can't see all of them, but you can just about see the cursor going over individual months. So each one of these, from here to there, represents an entire year. So that's the regional. And if we have a look at the last of these three samples, we have the world indicators. So you can see bowl maps, which show different colours based on different things that we are measuring, and also the size of them as well. And all the details are over here. So you can see the colour represents the birth rate. It's called a bin. We'll go into bins, don't we? And the size, you can see the average of population, but given that there's only going to be one figure, that's also going to be the same as the sum of the population, but don't worry about that, we'll go into that. Health, this shows the spend per capita. Now notice when I hover over a tab, you get a preview of it. Well, a tab again, as I said, these are called sheets or worksheets. So you notice that the axes can not just 0, 1, 2, but can actually say 0k, 50k, or 0b, 5000b. So they don't have to be in single units. Tourism, we have stacked bar charts here, and we have what can be quite effective for some of displays. We have a tiled graph here. And over here we also have a filter, so you can reduce the year range, and that, if you want, affects all of the graphs that you can see. And we can also select regions. It's quite versatile and quite easy to use once you can see everything. So here we have a trend graph. So again, lots of bubbles with a line showing a trend. And again, I can just click on individual items. And they put it all together in a story. So this gets us from one sheet to another just using the one dashboard. Right, so that's enough of an introduction to Tableau and all the various visual effects it can do. Now let's actually start to use it.